I have to discuss one of the biggest pro wrestling stories in years. A CM Punk was finally fired from AEW after getting in yet another fight with one of his co-workers minutes before his match with Samoa Joe at Wembley a couple of weeks ago for AEW All In, a show, of course, which you may remember I was in attendance of. And Punk is a divisive figure. To illustrate that, even my own experience at, say, Wembley show involved him starting a huge debate, which was well spirited, to be fair. Again, I think, Punk defenders and Punk haters kind of realized that, both of us have valid sides and kind of respect each other, even if some of us don't respect the man himself. And we had dual chants breaking out during the match and so on. And then, like an hour later, I read out from Twitter, lads, Punk has gotten into a fight backstage literally tonight, which caused one poor lad who I really felt sorry for, who was defending him with his life beforehand. And he was sitting in front of me, and I literally just saw him go, which I guess is the CM Punk fan experience since he's come back. You're trying to defend him, and then he just continues to just make things worse for himself. And look, I get it, because Punk is the voice of even to me. His series of matches with Samoa Joe in the early noughties made me pay attention to wrestling outside of WWE. It made me kind of commit to there is an entire world here, and that has opened up so many doors, ultimately like leading to Wembley. And again, I'm glad I got to see what could be his last match, which would be fittingly against Samoa Joe. His pipe bomb promo in 2011 reignited my wrestling fandom when it was at an all-time low, and I was even delighted to see him come back to wrestling in 2021. But even throughout all that time, and even while there was aspects that I was a fan of his, while being fascinated by him, there was a part of me, and again, if you even go back to the Low Blows archives, if you want to dig through them, you'll find that I've always said fascinating performer, but I've always kind of thought he was a whiny little narcissist, convinced the world owes him a living and unable to just look in the mirror at his own flaws or recognize the patterns that everywhere he goes, he falls out with everyone around him, and he's the common denominator in every single problem. Eventually, he's the living embodiment of the phrase, if you've ever heard it: if you go through your day and you meet one arsehole, you're unlucky. But if you go through your day and all you meet is arseholes, then you're the arsehole. And unfortunately, that's CM Punk's style. I feel bad for Punk diehards at this stage still defending him. It's such an easy argument to win now, as you just need to ask questions like, how many of his workers does this man need to assault to make you forget that he did one cool promo 12 years ago? Or when they start getting all like, he punked up, bitch, Jack Perry out. Like, that's what you do when anyone steps to you. You can shut them up by quickly asking them to point to where a clitoris is, and that just like silences them right away. And of course, look, I'm joking, I'm having the banter, and that's what I like, about this. And wrestling fans can kind of make space for this, the slaggings of each other, while not taking it too personally. But being honest, again, there's no defense for this. There's no circumstance, no matter how right you are, where it looks okay to fight with your co-workers constantly, physically get in fights, and by all accounts, threaten your boss. Like Tony Khan says, he feared for his life in the announcement that he put it out. And look, he probably is milking it up a bit. If someone doesn't punch you at the very least and you fear for your life, then you know what, you've probably just never been in a fight before. But at the same time, in spite of all this, the theme was consistent of getting in physical fights, and wrestling is no different to any workplace. You shouldn't punch your co-workers. It's illegal. It's assault, even if you then go out and pretend to punch them in front of an audience. So this was the right call by AEW owner Tony Khan. Unfortunately, as his repeated failed attempts to do a buckshot lariat have shown, Punk is a diminished returns talent-wise these days, and a lot of his value is just based on nostalgia and what we remember him on, and it being a different part of our lives. And plus, he's got a banger for a theme song. Like, again, Living Colour have done nothing wrong here. Cult of Personality is an absolute tune too. We can pretend, as AEW fans did, I think, that the phrase counterfeit books was a great insider insult, but the reality is, like, it's not. Like, by the way, counterfeit books is not a good promo. Like, that is not funny. Like, if you're going to make a joke about someone, but where you're slagging them off and you're going to make fun of their name, you have to do it in a way which actually twists their name. Like if you want to say the Young Bucks have a big dick, you'd call them the Hung Bucks because hung rhymes with young. Counterfeit is just a different word. You know what I mean? It's like saying, more like the fucking Egypt Bucks, am I right? It doesn't make sense. It's not funny. It's not good. But Punk fans are just kind of clinging to that. The reality is, though, he's entering the Ultimate Warrior era of his career of just being a former star turned old man yelling at a cloud. And that is what CM Punk is these days. It'll happen to you too. It'll happen to us all eventually one day, I'd say. But whether you liked him in 2011 or 2006 when he was cool at those points, it's not those years anymore, unfortunately. And this is who he is now. And the truth is, the amount of oxygen that he took up in AEW, while it did provoke engagement and online gossip, like you had newsletters and websites hitting record numbers based off his antics, like the all-out brawl in the backstage last year, which saw like half the major players in the company suspended because of it. It took away from the fact that, as we saw at AEW's All Out pay-per-view in Chicago last week, which again was the first show that AEW ran, where after Punk was fired in his hometown, this is still a promotion with great talent that can put on amazing shows without even seeming like they're trying, or without even having much of a build-up to be able to do so. The reality is, I want AEW to succeed. I'm planning to do Wembley again next year, and I want it to be a new wrestling tradition that I have with my mates, because I'm running out of stuff. Irish, indie wrestling like OTT, it's not my bag anymore. But I do miss going to stadium shows with my friends. So this could be the new thing that I do. So I do want them to succeed, but there was a lingering feeling leading up to it with all the drama and the mess and the shite that followed it, mainly because of CM Punk, that when we were going to Wembley last time, it was the series finale of AEW being cool. It doesn't feel that way now on the other side, but unfortunately for CM Punk fans, I think the fact that he's gone is a big part of that, because it's like AEW is ready to stop catering for these big names and they're just going to put on shows based on the strength of their name. I think it's good if they just leave him for Impact or an ill-fated WWE Hall of Fame induction and a brief return that'll probably go up in flames. He is a shit show who craves money and attention, so you will get your fix of him somewhere. He will turn up. Don't worry about that. But let me have my AEW, though, without his fucking toxic stain. Goodbye, CM Punk. Thanks for the good memories. I don't think you have a lot left to offer, but hey, good luck in wherever you show up, ruining whatever promotion that is.